Hi, and welcome to a new episode in the Macau Ayahuasca Retreats podcast. This is a space in which I hope I can give you tools, tips, and knowledge for you to prepare, experience, and integrate your ayahuasca ceremonies the best way you can. Today, we're going to be talking about shamans and specifically about their certification. And we're going to talk about how and why this is important and why you should be looking at this before even considering going to an ayahuasca ceremony. I know you're going to be hearing some noises in the background, but as I told before, I'm not going to be waiting for the perfect environment to record myself. I have a lifestyle in which I need to be finding the places and flow with them as I have this inspiration, so to say. So let's start with what is a shaman. In this world of psychedelics, there's not so many medicines or plants that have shamans in them. Ayahuasca is one of the only ones because you can go to, let's say, mushroom therapy or do a macrodoses of mushrooms or do, any other psychedelic, LSD. But it is not like the tradition for any of them to have a shaman that guides this ceremony, so to say. And ayahuasca has all these words attached to it: ceremony, shaman, tradition. And it is because before we in the Western world found it and made it public and famous, it has been done for more than 1,000 years. It has even been talked about 5,000 years or more. So this comes down to generations after generations of babies being chosen to be shamans for their whole life, and then those shamans, when they became the elders and the wise men of their tribes, then they also taught the new babies or the new shamans that were coming up, and this hasn't ended in the modern times. So also, as I once heard Graham Hancock, he said, I think I said this before, but there is a science in the shamanism and in ayahuasca ceremonies, because bringing those two plants together is not something that you do by by luck or just by instinct. Those are not two plants that necessarily grow together in the Amazon forest, so it requires a lot of experience and generations to get to the brew that we know as ayahuasca. And not only that, but being able to give it, guide it, because ayahuasca is not something that you just give and it is like a coffee in which you talk and we're friends. No, it is something that makes you purge, have diarrhea, throw up, and a lot of people get crazy in it. So you need to know how to manage it. And I'm not here talking even about the spiritual world. The spiritual world is the hardest one, and this is something you're gonna be aware when you drink it. So what is a shaman? Is somebody that was taught to give the ayahuasca, to cook it, to guide it, to talk about it, to prep you in the minutes before, to have a space where he gives it. So a shaman is not just a person that is called that, but a shaman is somebody that protects ayahuasca, grows it, cooks it, gives it, guides it, drinks it. This is something that we don't see anymore in the Western world. Such a deep connection with one medicine, because the analogy that we have in our modern times is the doctor, and the doctor I don't know any doctor, not even alternative medicine ones, that are so deeply connected with one medicine that they give. It's not like they grow the pills and then they cook it and then they serve it and guide it. No, they just prescribe it and that's it. They have alliances with the big pharma that does everything else, and even those big pharma also outsources a lot of things. So there's a lot of outsourcing. But when you have one person that has the whole life cycle with a medicine, maybe you can trust them a little bit more if they prescribe it to you. This is very important to know because of the deep connection they have with ayahuasca. And this is not only for you to like adore and only believe in shaman because he's called that, but for you to know that there might be a lot of people, and especially now, people that, because this has become so famous and there's like a market for this, then there is a lot of people that can call themselves shamans, or not even shamans, just like medicine person, and they believe they can give the medicine, and maybe they can, but are you gonna flip the coin? As I was talking in one of the podcasts, do you want a shaman? Do you want to go to an airline in which some of the pilots have licenses, maybe some of them were approved in the tests, in the simulators, maybe some of them have the hours? Or do you want an airline which has all of their pilots with licenses and with flight simulators and check rides, and they're checked and they have their medical licenses and everything up to date? I believe that's what we want, and that is even by law what we need to do. So maybe not in the United States and in Europe, this hasn't got there, but Colombia, for example, there are some countries, but I'm gonna give you the example that I have and that I know, is that in Colombia there is a thing named a shaman certificate. We call it here a traditional medic certificate, and it is a paper in which it assures that a person is called a shaman specifically for ayahuasca, and they are approved by the UN to give and guide the ceremony. And I'm gonna be very transparent with you. I have taken ayahuasca and I've gone to ceremonies, and I have flipped the coin myself, going to ceremonies with shamans that I didn't even know if they had the certificate. I wasn't looking for it. I didn't know even if that existed. And I'm thankful with them. But I did 1 or 2 or 3 ceremonies with them, and then by luck and chance and synchronicity, I knew the shamans that I work with today, and I've stuck with them for several years. Why? And this is only like analogy that I can give you. I call it roots. There is like a root chakra, and the analogy is the roots from a tree. Let's say I hang and I have climbed a lot of trees, and I like to live in trees, or I have a house in the trees. And I've tried 3 or 4 that weren't so stable. I could live in there and I could sleep, and yeah, it was very comfortable. But then I found one tree that had long roots and had several structures built in them, and it looks pretty. And every time I climb there and I build my house and I sleep in there, I can feel the structure, the roots, the strength it has. It is felt in the wood, in the leaves, in everything. And that is exactly what I felt with these shamans. And it comes down to a certificate. Why? Because the certificate is not given by an academy in which you go to a 6 months virtual course and you have it, but rather it is given by a group of shamans that live in a tribe. We call it Cabildo. It is the name for the tribes that are like certified by the country, and they assure that a person is ready to give ayahuasca. The way they prepare, you won't even imagine. They have a way to prepare that is just unimaginable. But lastly, what they get is like the green light from the shamans, from the elders of their community to give the ayahuasca. And they keep the traditions. They keep the traditions with a crown that they use, which we call the ayahuasca crown. They keep like the place where the medicine is given, which is what we call maloca. They live next to it. They go back to the Amazonian forest time and again to the community to learn more from the elders, to drink ayahuasca from the elders. They also go there to bring the ayahuasca and the chacruna, which are the two plants with which they cook the ayahuasca brew. So there are a lot of steps that they respect. There are traditions that they respect. There is like the only word that I can find in the Western world is like a proven system, so that you can understand. They have a proven system and they respect it. They don't cheat on it because they know it has thousands and thousands of years, hundreds of generations of wisdom, and they respect it. Why do they respect it? Because if something sticks for 100 generations, maybe it's gonna stick for 1 generation more, because it follows the laws of nature. And that is something you're gonna learn a lot. You're gonna be hearing me a lot. The laws of nature, which are the only ones that you're gonna be able to repeat and repeat, because you can do an experiment in Germany, in the US, or in Colombia, and you're gonna find the same laws of biology, of nature, of physics. So this is why the shamans are so related like to the hippies and to esotericism. But as I was talking, this is a science that maybe is not proven yet by Western science, but if you see back in history, once and again, everything that we didn't understand yet, we usually called it magic. And then when we found it, we just put like a name to it, like a physics law, like the third law of Newton. The third law of Newton wasn't invented by Newton, it was found by Newton. But before that, we just accepted that it was like it, and that was the way nature worked. And maybe some of the people said it was magic, but then we name it, and now we accept it as science and as logic. But all of this world has a logic that maybe you won't understand, but you will start understanding once you start drinking ayahuasca, and once you drink enough. And this is one of the main reasons why we don't do ceremonies, so to say, but we do a retreat, several days retreat. What is the recommendation here? Before and while you're preparing, make sure you get the certificate for the shamans. They have it and they can share with you their certificate. Even with the shamans I work with, they make you sign a contract the moment before receiving the medicine, because again, this is a structured thing, and you can find a ceremony and 90% of the ceremonies are going to be unstructured, without us a contract, and with everything being just like flowing and peace and love. but how sure would you feel? How secure would you feel? How safe would you feel to fly with an airline in which they were like, no, trust the process and trust the winds. And yeah, we haven't looked at the airplane. We believe in the good faith of the Lord. And yeah, I haven't got a check ride in several years, but yeah, trust the process. No, you want a safety pilot that has its license and has everything up to date. The same for shamans. So that would be my recommendation. Also, make sure you look at the place. How is the place? You're gonna feel it. Is it surrounded by mountains, by green, or is it gonna be in an apartment 2x2? Or which kind of ayahuasca experience do you want? So yeah, ayahuasca has been given for 1,000 years and hundreds of generations in the Amazonian forest. So most likely you're gonna find a shaman that lives in a farm that is not comfortable, so to say. It's not a 5-star hotel, and that is normal. And as one of our allied shamans says, in the world of ayahuasca, nothing will seem normal to you, but everything is normal. So you're gonna find it, something that is in the mountains, that doesn't have a 5-star bedroom, but that is gonna be following the traditions of nature and of the shamans, respecting it. And if you respect it, ayahuasca is gonna respect you by teaching you and giving you everything you want. This is one of the main things you're gonna be looking, and you're gonna be very grateful once you are in the integration phase, by you preparing properly for your ayahuasca experience, by choosing the right shaman, and then experiencing it with him. And I want to close with this. I hope you can find the best place you can. If you want to have the whole program with us, we help you prepare, know everything you need to know before you go to our shamans. Do it with certified shamans, and then integrate your experience. I hope to hear from you soon. Bye.